Hello plant friends, welcome to Martin's Home and Gardens Houseplant of the Week. This week we're going to be talking about a super interesting plant that we don't carry very often, which is called Cordyline. I've got a few different varieties here for us to kind of chat about because I'm just going to do like a general care on Cordylines. The different varieties are just so beautiful that I think it's best that we just talk about it in general rather than break it down by variety. So this one right here is called a Harley Quinn cordyline, which is pretty interesting because it's got this deep venation in the leaves, lots of variegation. You've got the lime green and then the dark green and that nice purpley pink, which makes this plant super desirable. This one over here is called a purple prince. So it's got the purple on the outside with that deep green color on the inside, which makes it super desirable. And then this one has got this just plain burgundy leaf. What's interesting about these is that they are native to the Pacific Islands as well as Southeast Asia. And they don't really tolerate too much light, not like in the outside area. Now inside, they are going to want pretty much as much light as you can give them. So around 6+ hours of a bright indirect light is going to be good for them. Now, the greener their leaves are, the more sun they can handle outside. So like the ones with the really dark leaves, they can probably handle a little less light. So if you don't have too much light in your home and you want one of these, but you don't know which one to get, I would probably go with something with a bit of a darker leaf so that it'll be a little bit more low light tolerant than the other varieties. Avoiding direct sunlight with these is pretty smart. They can grow outside and you can overwinter them as like a tropical and stuff. I would just recommend to be a little cautious when using them outside, especially in pots with bright sunlight, because you'll have to water more and everything is kind of a little bit, you have to just be a little bit more careful. These plants don't like for the temperature to go below 62 degrees really, and they like a lot of humidity. So making sure that you keep an eye on that is also pretty important. Maybe keep them away from drafty windows in the winter. And if the leaves start to droop at all or kind of turn brown, it would be a good idea to make sure your temperature is good and also you raise the humidity there. Since they are native to the Pacific Islands and stuff, it's pretty obvious that they're going to need that humidity. These plants like to be planted in a rich, well-drained soil with a pH of about 6.5. If you're one of those people who needs to know exactly the pH of their soil, that's what these like. As far as water goes, you are really going to want to make sure that the soil stays kind of consistently moist. Most of the time with tropical plants, I say to let them dry out in between waterings. And while that is true a lot of the time, with these, making sure that they stay pretty moist is pretty important because they don't like to dry out. So making sure they're not sitting in water, but also that they're not bone dry all the way through is pretty crucial. And obviously the humidity is a big thing too. So consistently moist, humidity, stuff like that. If the tips of your cordyline are starting to brown, it could be an indicator that you are using unfiltered water and it doesn't like that. They're pretty sensitive to fluoride, which is found in a lot of, unfiltered and tap water. So if you're getting that issue, you might want to start using a bottled water or something, or just make sure that you've got a filter. With fertilizer, you're going to want to use an all-purpose fertilizer or something that's not going to be too harsh on your plant. Slow release is good, but really just whatever, as long as you just fertilize like every other time you water maybe, and only in the spring and summer. Pests and diseases are kind of a thing that you need to watch out for on cordyline. They aren't super prone to getting pests or diseases, but there are a few like hardcore ones that affect it. Scale is pretty popular on them, as well as mealybugs and spider mites, and those are kind of tough to get rid of, especially scale. So making sure that you watch out for that when you're buying a cordyline is kind of important, so that you're not stuck with a plant that has one of these issues and then it gets to all your other plants. They're also prone to bacterial leaf spot and root rots, so making sure that your water is good, you've got good airflow, and you're not letting the plant just sit in the water is pretty important as well. These plants only get about 2 to 4 feet tall and wide, so they're not they're not too big if you're looking for something to kind of keep that, that stature. And yeah, they're just a really good house plant if you want to add in this really pink and pretty tone into your house and a nice tropical feel. You can also propagate them by taking stem cuttings on mature stems and removing all the leaves and putting them in a nice soil mixture with some sand. You can propagate them pretty easily. So they're just a really good plant, and come check them out because we have a wide variety of them right now. Have a good week, y'all.